I guarantee you, this article, this piece here that I just found, will change. Guaranteed. And why do I say that? Well, you can read the headline and see this is going to change. Sony does not consider competing with the Nintendo Switch. The CEO, Andrew Whoop-de-damn-do, kiss my ass, fuck him guy. This guy doesn't consider the Switch competition. Okay. You don't consider a Nintendo system the only system to actually sell out upon release, something PlayStation you have not done. No, you did not sell out when PS4 launched. You did not sell out completely. Your units remained on the shelves. Your VR headset sold out and did not get restocked for months. Yes, that happened. But PS4 did not. If Nintendo wanted to, if they wanted to, the NES Classic, the Super NES Classic, could easily hand you your ass on a silver platter with numbers if they wanted to. Let's get that perfectly clear. A plug and play emulator that is no bigger than the palm of most people's hands could make your PS4 numbers look like pure shit if Nintendo wanted to. Alright, you don't consider the Switch competition? I would be considering it competition. I would be considering anything Nintendo does competition. If you aren't paying any attention, Sony, developers are paying this fucking device a lot of attention. A hell of a lot. And I know a lot of people out there are like, well, it's just getting re-releases. Notice PlayStation's library is built and living off of re-releases. Majority of its library is re-releases because PlayStation 4 doesn't have backwards compatibility. So before you go thinking, oh, the Switch is, living off of re-releases, no, it's got more original content on it, and it's short 6 months than PlayStation has had in its 4-year lifespan. Let me run that by you one more again. In its short 6 months, the Switch has had more original content put on it than PlayStation has had in its 4-year lifespan. That's not me making that up. That's actually true. Yes, the Switch has got re-releases, yeah. But a lot of those are also digital. A lot. Those Neo Geo games, there's not one Neo Geo game that's an actual physical game. Because they're all $7 damn, $8. Every one of those are on the eShop, which the eShop needs fucking fixing, but that's another story for another time. But they're all digital. The only real hardcore re-release, aside from Rayman Legends, Definitive Edition, is Mario Kart Deluxe that we have right now. Think about that. Everything else to come out has basically been a Nintendo first. I can't count that as a re-release. You want to count it as a re-release? That's good for you, but I don't, because it was never released on the Wii U. It was never released on the Nintendo Wii. Therefore, it's a Nintendo first. Xenoverse 2, a Nintendo first. Resident Evil Revelations 2, a Nintendo first. These games never existed on Nintendo until now. Skyrim did not exist on a Nintendo platform until now. These are Nintendo first. I can't count these as a re-release, even though I know Bethesda has released Skyrim for the past, Jesus, it feels like 10 years. But it never saw a Nintendo. Okay? Whereas PlayStation, unfortunately, has seen a lot of the titles that are on the PS4, if not once, more than once. I mean, Final Fantasy X and X-2 has seen 3 different consoles. I'm just pointing this out. Kingdom Hearts went from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 and now it's on PlayStation 4. Has seen, again, multiple releases. You have Dishonored, which was on PS3 and came to PS4. You have, what is it, Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider was on the PS3 and came to the PS4. You've got God of War 3. You've got Assassin's Creed 4, which Assassin's Creed 4 was on the Wii U, but I don't see them putting that game on the Switch, although Ubisoft, making a good move would be putting Assassin's Creed, making it portable, just pointing out something I know a lot of people are thinking. Okay, a lot of these games being portable with the Switch is a great idea. I know Doom, the 2016, this one right here, being portable is something a lot of people are like, fuck yeah, because they want to be able to play these on the go. This is what makes the Switch a big deal. And again, Sony saying that they're not thinking about competing with the Switch is a huge mistake. They don't want to compete with the Switch because they know that they literally kind of can't. Okay, and I say kind of can't because, again, they failed with the Vita, they failed with the PSP. And yes, I know a lot of people want to throw numbers at me when I say these things, but here's the problem. Yes, the PSP sold well, but you all seem to also like to forget all the bad that they did with the PSP. They let it die completely dead silent, no ripples in the water, for a good 3 years when the PS3 first came out, because that's when it happened. There were a good 3 solid years where they did absolutely nothing with the PSP. And those 3 years, it was dead silence. Nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, oh, heartbeats going on with the PSP, but the damage was already done. And then nobody cared anymore, and it was like it didn't exist. And it wasn't, oh, people didn't want it. Even Sony had tried to revive it with well-respected IPs. Not only well-respected, but well-known. These games were not small indie titles. I'm talking Metal Gear Solids, Kingdom Hearts, God of Wars. They really tried. They really tried. And I'm not talking God of Wars and it was a God of War 3 clone. No. I'm talking, this was when God of War was at its all-time high. We're talking God of War 1, God of War 2. And this was before God of War 3. This was when God of War was just like fresh off of God of War 2. And they were going in off of Ghost of Sparta. They were doing like big shit. Okay? They literally could not save the PSP. Because they let it die for 3 years. And they had done the same thing now with the Vita. And they've even said they have no plans with the Vita. They don't want to compete with Nintendo because they know they have no shot at competing with it. Maybe if it was just a core console, they could see competing with it. But because it's a hybrid, because it's a portable, and it's a very accessible portable, it's a very easy to use portable, it's a very accessible portable, it's a very simplistic portable machine that you can take with you on the go and you can dock, and it's very easy to use. It's very, even if you want to take the dock with you, this thing is very easy. That alone makes Sony want to go, no. But again, like I said, this is going to change. This is not going to be something that sticks this way. Sony is going to have to acknowledge this. Okay, they can sit there and be like, no, we don't want to compete with this. But eventually, games are going to continually pile up on the Switch, and it's going to have to get acknowledged. And you can sit there and make all the excuses you want for them, like, oh, well, it's just becoming a re-release machine. All they're doing is re-releasing content on here. But when you say they're re-releasing games, I need you to realize the games that are being released on there have never been on a Nintendo product, so they're Nintendo firsts. They're first time for Nintendo's. I'm not saying that they're not re-releases. I'm saying these are the first time these specific titles have ever been released on Nintendo. They're not like PlayStation or Xbox titles where they're coming from the last gen of those two and they're just being re-released. No. It's not like with the Wii U. These games have never been released on the Wii U. They've never been released on a Wii or any Nintendo product. Yes, Resident Evil Revelations started on the 3DS, and yes, it was on the Wii U. That's why I said Revelations 2. You have to understand, certain games, yes, but not all of them. In fact, majority of the games that have been announced have never seen the light of a Nintendo product. LA Noire, never. Doom, never. Okay? Wolfenstein 2 is a brand new IP to everybody. Okay? Rhyme is coming, and that was a brand new game for everybody across the board. NBA Jam, brand new IP across the board. All these games, and you're complaining and talking about all this shit. But what I'm saying is, with Sony, they are going to have to acknowledge this. They are going to. They can sit there and they can try to ignore it as much as they want to. But they're going to have to acknowledge it. They can try as much as they might want to. They can sit back in the corner, cover their faces up and be, no, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're not. But it's not going to work. Eventually, they're going to have to acknowledge the Switch because developers are paying a lot of attention to it. And the developers are going to be like, we'll put our game on you, but we're not going to ignore Nintendo anymore. Because that's what's been going on for the past 10 plus years, is developers have been like, yeah, sure, you can have our game, and Microsoft can have our game, but screw Nintendo. And now it's not being that way anymore. Bethesda has jumped on board with Nintendo, and a lot of other developers are following suit. And that's starting to get under a lot of people's skins. And while you sit comfortably with your security blanket of excuses like their re-releases, you seem to be forgetting these are Nintendo firsts. Okay? And like I said, yes, they are re-releases, but again, they're also Nintendo firsts. And a lot of people have not played these Nintendo first. Me, myself, I never played LA Noire. I didn't want to pop the, what the fuck was it? It was popping some kind of chip in the 360 and PS3. I didn't want to run that risk with my 360. I never played it. So playing it on my Switch will be the first time I ever play it. Playing, Doom on the Switch definitely will be something for me to do. I bought it for the PS4, but I'm not a fucking core console person anymore. I like to play games on the go. I don't like playing games on my television like that anymore. So that's something to think about. Okay, people like me who play games on their television only for like an hour at a time. And I mean, like, seriously, I play Destiny for 1 hour. I time myself for 1 hour, and then I turn it off because I don't like sitting in front of my TV. I have other things to do. So the Switch is definitely a better choice for me. My 3DS, a better choice for me. My Vita is a better choice for me, okay? It just makes more sense. You know what I'm saying to you? And these developers are going to make Sony take notice, even if they don't want to. Even if you don't want to, you're going to have to take notice, okay? And I will continue saying that because it's something that has to happen. Even if you don't want to, Sony, even if you want to sit with your security blanket and your safety blanket and be in the corner talking about, no, we don't wanna, because handhelds have never worked for us in any part of the world outside of Japan. No, we can't. Even if that's what you want to do, it's time to put on your big boy pants and acknowledge this, because this is definitely not only a game changer for how we play games, but this is a entire changer for how we actually receive games and how we actually move forward and how we, do things from here on out with the way this thing is being received by the general public overall. And that's scary to a company like you who has had more success with core consoles being plugged into a TV than with portables, considering your portables are only successful in one region. I know that's scary, but maybe it's time for you to shift your focus and figure out what you were doing wrong. And I can help you there. I can. Because like I said, I've owned both of these consoles, and I can tell you exactly what you were doing wrong and help you. Hell, I can use the Switch and help you get on that level to compete, okay? In fact, I'll do it right here, right now. To help you get on that level to be successful, one, don't screw the consumer by forcing them into one memory card. Let them pick their memory card, okay? Make the memory card available with what's already on the market. Let them choose their brand. If it's a micro SD card, let them choose the micro SD card and make it the affordable one that's already on the market. Don't make them go to your specific brand that's way overpriced. That was the main problem with the Vita, is I had to buy the Sony micro SD card that sits like almost at $50 to $60 higher than the SanDisk 64 gig that's 30 bucks. That was a huge Achilles heel in the success of the Vita. Now, the second problem was the 3G model, which is a great fucking thing. The 3G, making it easier for you to play outside of Wi-Fi, that was a great thing. The problem there, you had everybody stick to one fucking carrier. There's many mobile carriers now. There were many mobile carriers back when this came out. There was AT&T, there was Verizon, there's been Sprint, there was Metro piece of shit. There, I believe, was T-Mobile. There's many carriers. There was many carriers then. There's still many carriers now, and not everybody carries just the one. Why you, Sony? Why do you dictate in making people choose only one? That is something I've never understood. That is very anti-consumer. That is very anti-gamer. And that is why the PS Vita, along with the PSP, failed in the long run. Yes, you can hit me with those numbers. I know you want to. Please feel free. I don't care. That is why these both failed. Because you made the consumer have to buy the one. You have to buy our card. You have to buy our memory card. You have to go with the carrier we have pre-selected. If you don't, fuck you, and fuck wanting to give us money, go fuck yourself. That is why both the Vita and PSP failed, okay? Not to mention the lackluster support that you gave both these products. Not to mention the amount of content. PSP had a great amount of content within the first 3 years of its life. Then you took 3 years off. Then you came back for 2 years. And it had great support during the time you wanted to support it. But then again, you just dropped off and it flatlined. Then it came back and it was good. But damage was already done for the PSP. Vita, it was just like buying games for the PS4 or PS3. I almost said PS4. It was like buying games for the PS3. If I'm buying a copy of Injustice on the PS3, I don't need a copy of Injustice on my PS Vita, because remote play is a thing. If I'm buying a copy of Need for Speed on my PS3, I don't need it on my Vita because of remote play. It's a thing. Push remote play. Push features that you want that are actually really good. Okay? And you failed at this. This is another reason why the Vita failed. And instead of pushing the original content, making the overall need of this system very high, making the demand go up because the features are really good, because the original content is really good. What you did is you flooded the market with re-releases of games that were already available on the PS3. You failed to push the actual features of this thing on the PS3. And you made all the actual, the SD card and the 3G Sims card only available for the model. You couldn't go out and buy it anywhere else, and you had to buy the specific one through you and overprice it. Okay, all those things came back to bite you in the ass, making this thing doomed day one. Yes, you have original content for the Vita, but it's very slim pickings. I mean, you got Uncharted: The Golden Abyss. You got Gravity Rush 1. You got Tearaway, which unfortunately has become ported to everything. Okay, I'm surprised the Golden Abyss has not become ported now, since the PS4 has this little touchpad. Everything that is on the Vita ends up getting ported over to the PS4. Todoken 1, Todoken 2, ported. God's War, Futures Past, ported. Majority of the games get ported, not because the Vita just doesn't sell well, it's because they don't have enough faith in it, because Sony didn't support it. This is why I say, Sony, you easily could be a contender in the market if you didn't have these flaws and if you actually fixed all this shit. And a lot of people would not disagree with that. In fact, if you have a brain, you would probably agree with that full-heartedly. Be like, actually, yes, all those. If they fixed every one of those, I would own a Vita right now. And in fact, if you know anything, you know there's 2 versions of the PS Vita. There might be 3, and guess which ones they fixed any of those problems with? Not a single one. In fact, they did this and said, go to hell. Give us more money. All we're going to do is slim it down and take away the 3G factor. Yeah. And in 2017, guess how much is a 64 gig memory card from Sony cost? $100 fucking. Making the $159 used for a PS Vita a whopping $259. You know what $259 gets you in 2017, Sony? A PS4. You don't want to compete with the Switch? There's a reason. It's because you completely fucked your handheld market all the way up. So miss me and miss all your customers and all your fans with the bullshit. You can actually do it if you tried. If you tried. Swallow all that pride down, fucking put it in your gut, shit it out, and have some humble pie. Because you need some. If you wanted to compete with it, like I said, you're going to have to actually come to grips and, admit all your wrongdoings here. You can actually do this. I don't know why Nintendo's the company that end up with the best Resident Evils on handhelds and you're stuck with shitty ass Silent Hill games, but maybe talk to Capcom. You could actually compete with the Nintendo Switch. You could. In fact, I don't see why you don't. You're gonna have to acknowledge it sooner or later. But until then, Sony, go fuck yourself.